Chazak Baruch. Good evening, everybody. Interesting questions that we were asked about the issue of soaking and salting. When a person buys meat, when we were in Georgia and Bukhara and Persia, the good old days over there, I think that we used to buy meat. We had to do the soaking and salting ourselves. Right? The store wasn't doing it for us. Over here, everything is gatovi. They do everything for you. You go to the store, it's already ready to go on the fire because they soak it and salt it usually in the good places. The places which are glad kosher, they usually do it for you. So that's why a lot of people today, they don't know the laws of soaking and salting because they don't really do it so much. It's not very practical today so much, that's the thing. But there are some things which are still, pretty practical and the person has to know. So in order to discuss a little bit about this, let's get started. Where is this discussion? It's in your Dea, Shulchan Aruch, Siman Samich Tet. You know what Samich Tet stands for? Amir. Siman Samich Tet, what does it stand for? Samich. Sfardi Tahor, pure Sfardi. We're all over here pure Sfardim, so that's why. Sfardi Tahor. Okay, so what do I want to tell you? That it says over there, in Siman Samich Tet, that there's two things a person has to know. First of all, number one, soaking and salting. Number one is that if you're eating the food, if you're eating that meat raw, do you have to soak it and salt it? That's the question, right? Let's say you don't want to cook it, you just want to eat it raw. Some people like to eat raw meat, I personally, I think I would faint if I would eat raw meat, I don't think I could tolerate it. But my mother, comes from the old country, she still likes to taste a little bit raw meat when she cooks. She likes to taste it, She enjoys it, whatever, some people enjoy that, whatever. So if you do, in the Talmud, we call that koses. Somebody who's eating raw meat is called koses. He's chewing it, like chewing it up. So the question is, do you have to soak it and salt it when you do that? Or can you just eat it like that? So the answer is that if you're eating it like that, raw, it doesn't need to be soaked and salted. Did you know that? Surprising, huh? Like, what's the reason why, by the way? What's the reason why you don't need it? So the answer is like this, right? That the truth is that according to the Torah, the meat doesn't really need to be soaked and salted. Doesn't need that. You can eat it like that, as is. So who made this takana that the meat has to be soaked and salted? The rabbis did. The Chachamim made this takana. So the question is, why did they make it? What? They want to give us trouble? What? They want to give us a hard time? If the Torah allows you to eat without soaking and salting, then why should you have to do it? So the answer is like this, that there are some times that a person can eat meat, and if he doesn't soak and salt, he's going to be doing avera, he's going to be eating blood. What's the reason? What's the difference between this and that? The difference is like this, right? When you eat raw meat, so you're not cooking, right? Just eating it, so the blood is inside. All the time that the blood is inside the meat, you're allowed to eat it like that. Only when it comes outside of the meat, then it becomes a problem. This is the thing, This is the thing. So that's why when you're eating it raw, you're allowed to eat it without soaking and salting, because the blood is inside. Once you cook it, what happens is the blood starts to come out, right? And that's where it becomes a problem. It becomes treif. That blood is treif. You're not allowed to have that blood. This is the reason why the rabbi said, you better soak and salt it, because otherwise, right, you're going to get into trouble sometimes like that. You have to be very careful about that. So therefore, the rule is you have to soak it and salt it all the time, except when you're eating it raw. That's one thing. Another exception is that like this, right? If a person, let's say, is making barbecue, right? Everybody likes barbecue, right? Nobody will deny that. So do you need soaking and salting when you do barbecue? The answer is no. You don't need it, right? Why is that? What's the reason why? Because all the blood comes out when you roast it. It goes down into the coals, So there's nothing left. So soaking and salting is not necessary. So the question is like this, right? What's better? What brings out the blood more? Roasting it on the fire or soaking and salting? So the truth is that roasting it is better than soaking and salting. So you don't need to do that. It's redundant. You know what I mean? This is the reason why when a person does barbecue, I remember, I'll tell you a story. It's funny. When I was younger, my young days over here, when I got married, about 28 years old I was at that time, I was learning in the kollel of Rabbi Ben Chaim, Leo Ben Chaim. Yeah, at that time he was on Main Street, right next to the mikveh over there, on White Place. Over there, he was over there, right? So, the good old days, yeah. So, What happened was that one time, in the kollel, they decided to bring a sheep, tzfari, they brought a live sheep, and they shechted it, in the yard, in the back, there was a backyard over there, and so guess who shechted it? I'll give you 3 guesses. Who shechted it? Who was the shochet? Rabbi Aaron. Rabbi Aaron was the shochet, so Rabbi Ben Chaim invited him to come and do the shechita. So he came, right? And they put the sheep like this upside down, and he took a big knife like this, big enough to cut, to put in the neck. You can cut off. It was big enough for that. So, what do you call it? So they cut the sheep, they put it upside down, they cut the neck, everything, and the blood started to come out. It was just, I almost fainted. When I see blood, I faint. I'm not a big blood guy. I'm not a big blood person. So what happened was that once we shechted the animal, so it died, and then they skinned it. The skin came off and everything. There was a guy there. There was a Bukharian guy there who knew how to do this. The Bukharians are good at this stuff. They know how to do it. Chick-chack. They take off the skin. They make it ready. Pop, 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 pop. 1, 2, 3. Right? It was ready to go. So what did we do? Right? We didn't do soaking and salting. What did we do? We put it straight on the fire. We made a barbecue. We ate it. That's what we did, right? We ate it right there. We made a barbecue right there. That's what happened, right? Why did he do this? Not to give us a barbecue. The reason was to teach us about shchita and about the laws of nikur, right? Cleaning the animal. That's what he wanted to do, the rabbi. That's why he did that, right? So why do I tell you this story? To teach you, right, that when you do barbecue, you don't need to do soaking and salting. You can go right on the flame. You don't need that. All the blood drips out, and you're good to go, right? That's it, right? So when do you need soaking and salting? When you're frying it in the pan, when you're boiling it in the pot, then you need. That's something else, right? That's a different story.
What about if you put the meat and you don't make it well done, and when you cut the meat, and you see the blood?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I always had this question also, what you're asking. For years, I was thinking to myself, I'll tell you what, the fundamental question. It's like when you go to the store sometimes, you take a pack of meat, and you still see over there blood, It's like, what happened? Listen, you tell me it's soaked and salted, but there's still blood coming out of the meat. What's going on over here, So what the answer is? The truth is that there's different types of blood in the meat. There are certain types of blood which are mutar. There are certain types of blood which are asur. Not every blood is asur. Not every blood is forbidden. So what happens is that once you do soaking and salting, whatever is left over there looks red, it's not blood anymore. It's like juice. It's just juice, It's the juice of the meat. It's not really blood anymore. All the blood already came out. So we're not worried about that. So when do I say that, Shalom? I want to tell you, right? It has to be half cooked, If it's half cooked, that means like it's edible from even people like rare meat. They like rare, I like medium rare. I like that. I'm that. Okay, so I see you like it also. So you're smiling. So that's the way I like it, Once you do half cooked, it's already considered to be ready to go. You can eat like that. All the blood already came out. That's it. Gamana. Right? That's the idea. But if it's less than that, 1/3, 1/4, that's not good enough. It's not, it's raw. That's not good. Yeah, I'm sorry. What do you think?
Some meat is salted. That would be considered cooked as well.
I'm sorry?
If they soak and salt meat, the meat is still raw, but it's salted, which means the cooking process has begun.
Well, the truth is, according to the Torah, that's not called cooking, right? According to the Torah, yeah? You know what I mean? So there are certain things which are like cooking, like similar, but the Torah doesn't consider them cooking. I'll give you an example. For instance, like smoking, You want to smoke the fish, smoked fish, So the Torah doesn't consider that to be cooking. But it's cooking, you can eat it like that. That's the thing, right? So there are different types of...
Question. You said raw meat does not have to be soaked or salted. What about there's food that you go to a high-end restaurant, they have like steak carpaccio or steak tartare. It's raw meat basically.
Yeah, but once you start to put on the fire, that's it, The blood will come out.
Once you slice it, the blood comes out.
Right, but I'm saying is that you can wash that off. It's not a problem. But once you put it in the pot, the blood will come out, and what's going to be is that the blood will go back into the meat. This is already treif. It's a problem. If you're doing barbecue, as I said, all the blood is going down to the coals. No problem.
What if you're eating the meat raw and you slice it, the blood comes out?
Wash it off, and eat it. That's the thing, right? Wash off the blood, and eat it. So that's not really a problem. So okay, we got the idea, right? More or less, but. Now the question is with liver, because a couple of my friends over here, they said they like to eat liver. I think the Bukharians like to eat liver, right? It's a big thing, Georgians also like it, but I think the Bukharians are bigger on this. It's a bigger thing for them, whatever. Like delicatessen, whatever, some kind of ma'adan. So the question is, what do you do with liver, right? So the answer is, says the Shulchan Aruch, you can't do liver like you do meat. It's not the same thing. What's the difference between the meat and the liver? The liver has a lot of blood, like a blood bank it has over there. You know what I mean? You could donate blood over there to Putin's army over there, over there. You could donate. There's so much blood in there, you can donate it to people, right? So that's the way it is. So that's the reason why the Chachamim said it's not enough to do soaking and salting with liver. It doesn't work. It doesn't help you. It's too much blood. It's too massive. So what do you got to do? You got to do barbecue. That's the thing, right? As we said, barbecue is better. So barbecue will do the job. Soaking and salting will not do the job. That's what it is. When it comes to liver. By the way, it doesn't make any difference whether it's chicken liver or beef liver. It's the same. It's all the same. It has a lot of blood in there. So therefore, either way, it's not enough. So what does a person have to do to prepare liver? By the way, here you should know that this also, what I'm telling you now, they're also doing it at the store sometimes. They're roasting the liver, before they sell it to you. So if they already roasted it, it's already ready to go, right? That's it, But if you're buying raw liver, you know what I mean? Then you got a problem, So you got to do it yourself. You know what I mean? That's the thing. So some of the stores are, like really good. Everything is gatov, ready to go, ready to put into the pot, no problem. So what do you got to do if you're buying raw liver? The answer is you got to do, first of all, roast it, right? As we said, barbecue or in the oven. You have to do it in which way that the blood is dripping out, right? Not going into the stain with the liver. It's going down, separating from it. That's the idea. It has to be like that, because the blood is treif.
What about if the fire is from the top, not from the bottom?
No problem. That's not a problem as long as the blood is going down. That's the thing.
Obviously, we'll go down.
No, because if it's in a tray, magash.
No, it has to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it's in a tray, you got a problem, because the blood is staying there.
It has to be reshet.
Absolutely,
Net.
right. You got to have a net, right? That's what he's saying, right? The rate, yeah.
Let's say you put on a net into the oven, on top of the net, it drips
Yeah, drips down, no problem. You're good. You're set to go.
the plate is straight.
Right, that's the thing. So the question is how much you have to. The tray you'll have to throw it away. That blood, obviously, you can't have that blood. You know what I mean? No, obviously.
You wash it off.
Of course. You should use that only for. By the way, we're going to get to that, but you should use that only for the liver, that tray. You shouldn't use it for other things because it's treif.
Right.
It's got blood there. So anyway, getting back to what we said, right? How much do you have to roast the liver? You have to do at least half cooking because that's edible already. If you cook it half, you're good. So then, once you cook half, you can now put it into the pot, and make a dish out of it, some kind of a tavshil, you want to put it in the pan and fry it. As long as you did half roasting, you're good to go. And by the way, you can also have it like that as well. I'm sorry, right here, yeah.
That's according to Rabbi.
According to Shulchan Aruch. That's how we pass it.
It's like Rabbi, half, because Rashi, I think, does 1/3.
Oh, good, yeah, we don't pass like that. Right, yes, we don't pass it. Good, I'm here. It's a machloket in Gemara, right? One says 1/3, machal ben drusai, right, that you're talking about. One said it's 1/3, one says 1/2. But we pass that it's 1/2, so it's a chumrah, it's a chumrah, of course, yes. So a person shouldn't do 1/3. It's not really good to do that. It's not the halacha. So as we said, right, that as we said, you got to do 1/2 cooking. You can have it also like that. Once you did 1/2 cooking, you could also eat it like that, as is. It's already ready to go. If you like it like that, even though it's still not 100% cooked, but all the blood is already out of there. So that's not a problem. So now, right? Okay, we understand that more or less, right? How to do that. So then the question is like this, right? Bediavad. Okay, we also with the chatchila. We said the chatchila. A person has to roast the liver on a fire and get the blood out. That's the way it has to be done. Bediavad, bediavad. Let's say he didn't do it, right? And what he did was he cooked it in a pot. He didn't do nothing to it. No soaking and salting, no barbecue, no nothing, right? Just put it in the pot and cooked it, as is. Kosher, or you gotta throw in the garbage, give it to the cats. What do you gotta do with that, right? Some people told me, we give liver to the cats. I said, Jews don't have cats. That's something else. We don't have cats in the house. Goyim have cats. All right. So anyway, right? I'm joking, but the point is like this, right? Is it kosher, that liver, or you gotta throw it away? So the answer is, says Shulchan Aruch, that it's kosher. Kosher. Can you imagine? He didn't soak it and salt it. He didn't barbecue it. Still, b'diavad it's kosher. What do you got to do? How do you make it kosher? Take it out of the pot, wash it off, wash off the blood, and it's kosher. But, says the Shulchan Aruch, I'll explain to you why that is, by the way. I'll give you the reason why. But says the Shulchan Aruch, even though the liver is kosher like that, b'diavad, but the pot has to be kosher. It's treif. The pot is treif. Why is that? Because it absorbed the blood that came out of the liver. The pot is treif. So it needs hagala. You have to put it in the boiling water and kosher.
You can eat that liver, you're saying?
The liver you can eat. So the question is, how is it that the pot is not kosher, right? Treif, and the liver is kosher? How can that be? What kind of thing? Selective, right? What is that? What kind of thing is that? So you know what the answer is? Say the Chazal, there's a difference between the liver and the pot. The liver gives off blood, it excretes blood. But it doesn't absorb blood, the liver. That's the nature of the liver, That's the way it is. It's not like meat. It's not the same thing. Meat also absorbs. But liver does not absorb any blood. So therefore, b'diavad, just wash off the blood and you're good to go. Why? Because it will not absorb that blood that came out, the liver. It will not absorb it. So b'diavad, you can have it like that. But one thing you've got to be careful, right? If you cook that liver, let's say with vegetables, some potatoes and stuff, so that's going to be treif, all that stuff, all the food. All the food you have in your pot is going to be treif. Because it absorbed the blood. That's got to go in the garbage. Right? But in terms of the liver itself, you can have it. That's the answer, right? That's the idea. Okay, he's like that. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
And just keep changing the pot.
Oh, I'm sorry, what was it again?
You can basically take raw liver, throw it in a pot, and keep cooking it like that, and just throw it.
Right, but that's only b'diavad. L'chatchila, if you did that, you would have a sin. You did an averam, that you did it this way, because you're not supposed to do it that way. You know what I mean? It's only b'diavad what we're saying. But l'chatchila, you're not being careful. You're being, you're being ignorant, right? You're being, what do you call it? Yeah. So that's the thing. So you're being careless, right? That's what it is, right? So therefore, it's not allowed to do that. The question is also another question which they asked me is, what about the skewers, right? The shampura, in Hebrew they call it shipudim, right? The skewers. So if you cook, it says in the Shulchan Aruch like this: if you make skewers, and put liver on that and barbecue, you can't use those skewers for meat. Why is that? Because it absorbs the blood that comes from the liver. This is the thing. So what you should do is have special skewers, shampura, for the liver. That's the way to do it. Unless you want to do every time libun, and kasher it every time, which is very difficult. Who wants to do something like that, right? It'll take you an hour to kasher these shipudim, these skewers. What do you need that for, right? It's a waste of time.
But if you put them on the barbecue itself, after that might.
Yeah, if you do it like you're right. But the truth is, there's. I want to tell you something interesting about that. In the halakha, the Shulchan Aruch brought down. There's two types of libun, to kasher these kinds of things, barbecue things. So there's libun lechatchila. There's libun kal, a little bit lower level. So what's the lechatchila libun? Really, the real libun is it has to become red, like red. And if you put some straw on it, it'll burn it, So it's hard to get to that temperature. That's the problem, without a blowtorch or something, you know what I mean? Shem Yirachem. Right? Who has a blowtorch in his kitchen? So it's hard to get to that. That's the thing, So therefore, better, to avoid this. But the truth is, that's called libun kal. If you do that, just put it on the barbecue for like 15 minutes, and let it just, But you're good. You're good. You're good. But that's not the real libun. So okay, whatever. So, if you have no choice, you can do it like that. If you have no choice.
You need to have it like 15 to 20 minutes.
Until it gets really, really hot. Like really, really maximum temperature. Which is not so easy. Okay. So you want to do it that way. That's fine. Same thing, by the way, goes also. Somebody asked me. Right? Let's say they go to Flushing Meadow Park over here, and they found over there these barbecues. Which are used also by the goyim. You know what I mean? So the question was, can I use that to make my meat, to that barbecue, So the answer is that you got to do first libun on the reshet, on that grate, So here also, right, not so easy to do libun on that reshet. You can do it, as we said, right, if you have no choice. You can do libun kal, like just put it on the fire for 15 minutes. But this is not the best libun. The best libun is to make it red, like the Red Army, Soviet style, Putin, So you gotta make it red square, right? So it's hard to do that. So therefore, it's better to avoid that, but if there's no choice. Right? So best thing to do, honestly, when you go to Flushing Meadow Park, take your own barbecue, don't use what do you need that for? This public barbecue, Shem Yirachem. Right? Whatever. But if you have no choice, you forgot your barbecue, okay, you're not going to go home now, right, and bring it back again, right? Maybe it's too much for you, but whatever. But you can do it like that, it will come. Okay, so we got the idea, right? So, but Bediavad, again, I'm just going to mention one thing. Bediavad, though, here also, let's say a person used the shampoo, the shipudin, for liver. Right? They say Weasley, right? In Georgia, liver. Weasley, yeah. So, just want to make sure you understand what I'm talking about, the Georgians. Right? So, anyway, if you wanna, let's say you used the shampoo, the skewers. You used it for barbecue of liver. Right? And Bediavad, he forgot, and he used it for meat afterwards. So the question is that meat kosher or it's treif? That's the question, right? So it says the Shulchan Aruch, Bediavad is kosher, So therefore, if you made it like that, you forgot, you're allowed to have that meat. What's the reason why? Because that is there's two things over there. One thing is that the taste which goes into the skewers spoils in 24 hours, So if it's 24 hours, the taste is already spoiled. So therefore, it's not going to give you good taste from there. It's going to be bad taste. That's one thing, right? Number two, there's also another reason, which is that all the time when the skewer is going on the barbecue, it's getting libun all the time, as you said, right? As you're using it, there's also libun. It's always libun there. It's always getting burnt. So therefore, there's not really much left there. There's nothing really left. Bediavad. So therefore, bediavad, if you use the skewer, the shampoo, the shipud, for the meat after the liver, you can eat it. ברוך ה' לעולם, אמן ואמן. אביך ענן שומר את הקדוש ברוך הוא זכות ישראל, ואביך הכי בא להם תורה מצווה שומרים חפץ, למען צדקו יגדיר תורה וידיר.
Yeah.